The US presidential elections are just a couple of months away. A tumultuous few weeks have unfolded, from an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump to President Joe Biden withdrawing from the 2024 race. What a ride it's been. Now we have the faces on the presidential tickets and their running mates. But the question many Indians are asking is, who is better for India, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? While we can't give you a definite answer or a verdict on that one, we sure can delve into what their policies have meant or could mean for India. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. Before we analyze which presidential candidate might favor India, let's revisit historical interactions between the Democratic and the Republican parties with India. The bond between the United States and India began shaping in the late 1940s. Following India's independence in 1947, both the Democratic and the Republican parties have perceived India within the Cold War context. Initially, the Democrats, notably under President Harry Truman, championed India's sovereignty and democratic principles. Yet, India's non-aligned position during the Cold War posed challenges, as both parties feared India's potential tilt towards the Soviet Union. The cessation of the Cold War in the 1990s heralded a major shift in US-India relations, but not without its hiccups. US's Pakistan leaning and India's position on erstwhile Soviet Union proved to be major hurdles. And in a way, we have seen that even in recent times with Russia over the war in Ukraine. However, late 90s were a difficult period for India when it comes to America, especially after then Prime Minister Vajpayee's bold step to carry out the nuclear tests in 1998, leading to crippling sanctions from the West. That changed slowly, yet steadily. The Democratic leadership under President Bill Clinton was instrumental in transforming ties between Washington and New Delhi. Clinton's landmark visit to India in 2000 underscored the importance of democracy, economic collaboration, and regional stability. Subsequently, US-India relations matured into a more strategic partnership. Under the Republican presidency of George W. Bush, the bilateral relationship soared with the seminal US-India Civil Nuclear Agreement in 2008. This accord marked a significant recognition of India as a responsible nuclear state. Democratic administrations in the US have also maintained this trajectory. Under Barack Obama, the focus was on bolstering economic ties and tackling global challenges, particularly climate change. The Obama administration regarded India as a key ally in fostering stability in Asia.
India has been a great friend and partner to the United States and to me personally during his tenure as Prime Minister. I think all of us recognize that as the world's two largest democracies, countries that have for a very long time been invested in the peace and prosperities of their own people, that there is a natural convergence between the United States and India. And India, as a significant, not just regional power, but world power, has worked closely with us on a whole range of issues for climate change, how we can help feed the world, alleviate poverty, and deal with disease.
Whether led by Democrats or Republicans, the evolution of Washington-Delhi ties has consistently been elevated to strategic prominence. Currently, both parties recognize India's strategic importance, especially against the backdrop of an assertive China. China's growing influence is a key driver in aligning US and Indian interests. The formation of the Quad, comprising India, the US, Japan, and Australia, demonstrates a mutual commitment to counter Chinese assertiveness in the Indo-Pacific region. Additionally, there is bipartisan support for India's defense enhancement and economic growth, promoting a vision for a free and open Indo-Pacific. Historically, both Democrats and Republicans have supported robust India-US relations. The Republican Party under Donald Trump has shown a keen intention to fortify these ties. Trump's outreach to the Hindu community during his 2016 campaign reflects that shift. Moreover, Trump's remarks during the Diwali celebrations in Florida, where he acknowledged the support of the Hindu community and vowed to elevate India-US relations, have resonated positively with the Indian Americans. Now, should Donald Trump return to the White House, we could witness an uptick in defense sales to India, particularly in advanced technology. According to reports, a Trump-Vance administration would redirect US military resources from Europe and West Asia towards Asia. Why do I say so? Is because of the increasing pressure on China. This shift might also deepen military cooperation and facilitate the transfer of weapons and technology to India, while steering investments and job opportunities away from China towards India.
The most important difference in America's new approach on trade concerns our relationship with China. In 2001, China was admitted to the World Trade Organization. Our leaders then argued that this decision would compel China to liberalize its economy and strengthen protections to provide things that were unacceptable to us and for private property and for the rule of law. 2 decades later, this theory has been tested and proven completely wrong. Not only has China declined to adopt promised reforms, it has embraced an economic model dependent on massive market barriers, heavy state subsidies, currency manipulation, product dumping, forced technology transfers, and the theft of intellectual property, and also trade secrets on a grand scale.
Although there are reservations in India if Trump secures a second term. During his initial tenure, Trump emphasized an America First agenda, which resulted in a more protectionist trade stance and also was taking away from India's Make in India project.
Assembled here today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every city, in every foreign capital, and in every hall of power. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
If re-elected, we might witness a continuation of these policies. India could face demands to lower trade deficits, particularly in sectors such as pharmaceuticals and textiles. New Delhi might also face intensified discussions on tariffs, potentially affecting Indian exporters. In essence, trade relations could grow more complex, impacting the Indian economy. We haven't still forgotten the Harley-Davidson saga. Listen in to what Donald Trump had to say about that.
We want reciprocal trade deals. Scott Walker has a wonderful company called Harley-Davidson in Wisconsin, right? Great. So when they send a motorcycle to India, as an example, they have to pay 100% tax, 100%. Now, the Prime Minister, who I think is a fantastic man, called me the other day. He said, we are lowering it to 50%. I said, okay, but so far we're getting nothing. So we get nothing, he gets 50, and they think we're doing, like they're doing us a favor. That's not a favor. And you know what I'm talking about. It's a great company. When I spoke with your chairman or the president of Harley, They weren't even asking for it because they've been ripped off with trade so long that they were surprised that I brought it up. I'm the one that's pushing it more than they are. But it's unfair. And India sells us a lot of motorbikes. So when they have a motorbike, a big number, by the way, they have a company that does a lot of business. So they have a motorcycle or a motorbike that comes into our country, the number is 0. We get 0. They get 100%. Brought down to 75, brought down now to 50. Okay. And I wasn't sure. He said it so beautifully. He's a beautiful man. And he said, I just want to inform you that we have reduced it to 75, but we have further reduced it to 50. And I said, what do I say? Am I supposed to be thrilled?
On the other end of the spectrum, we have Kamala Harris. The US Vice President's rapid ascent to the forefront of the Democratic Party's presidential ticket has galvanized many Indian Americans, boosting the rapidly expanding community's political influence and generating widespread enthusiasm. Harris, of Indian and Jamaican heritage, aims to become the first female president of the country following President Joe Biden's withdrawal from the race. She has also made history as the first Indian American and black woman to lead a major political party's ticket in US history. Harris is determined to defy expectations and achieve the extraordinary. Her connection to India might provide the momentum she needs, as for many Indian Americans, she symbolizes the diaspora's success and impact in the United States.
Family is my uncles, my aunts, and my chitties. There's another one.
That was Kamala Harris, putting her chitties and her Indian roots on the global map the day she was nominated as Joe Biden's vice presidential pick. 4 years later, Kamala is at the cusp of history again. Could she become the first Indian origin president of the United States? Born in Oakland, California, to 2 immigrant parents, an Indian-born mother and Jamaican-born father, Kamala was primarily raised by her Hindu single mother, Shamala Gopalan Harris, a cancer researcher and a civil rights activist.
When I was 5, my parents split, and my mother raised us mostly on her own. Like so many mothers, she worked around the clock to make it work, packing lunches before we woke up and paying bills after we went to bed. She made it look easy, though it never was.
She grew up engaged with the Indian heritage, joining her mother on visits to Tamil Nadu. With Joe Biden dropping out of the 2024 presidential race and nominating Harris as his successor, the Thula Senthirapuram village in Tamil Nadu has come alive. Locals are holding special pujas for Harris's nomination and win in the US presidential elections.
அவங்க வெற்றி பெற்றா எங்களுக்கு ஒரு சந்தோஷம்.
It's for the pure absolute joy that Kamala Harris's roots are from this village, and that's the reason they want her to win, and that is why they are conducting special pujas day after day, claiming that she is from this particular village, her roots are from this village, and she is a daughter of this village.
This tiny village is where Kamala Harris's maternal ancestors hailed from. The residents call Kamala their daughter and are rooting for her to be the next US president.
Vice President இருந்தாங்க 2000ல இப்போ 2024ல வந்து பிரசிடெண்டா போட்டிடுறாங்க. அவங்க போட்டிடணும், வின் பண்ணணும்னு ஆசைப்படுறோம்.
He says that she was a VP, got elected as VP in 2020, and now 2024 there is potential that she can become the candidate for the presidential election of USA, and he wants her to win.
Kamala Harris has raised an unprecedented $100 million for her presidential campaign, reflecting the groundswell of support in her favor. As Kamala Harris continues to navigate the political landscape, her journey resonates deeply as a testament to the enduring influence of her Indian roots on a historic path in American politics.
350 families from the village of Thulasendrapuram are regularly praying, holding annadanas and various pujas at Dharmasastra temple over here, whom they believe is a powerful deity, all for the victory of Kamala Harris, whom they call as Nam Mandin Tavapudalvi, which means the daughter of the soil. They believe she's the daughter of every family from this village, and they believe her victory is their own personal victory, and they believe that the victory of Kamala Harris, very important, the victory of Kamala Harris is a victory for entire women across the world. This is why they're conducting special pujas and they're praying for their victory.
The Indian American community, known for its substantial contributions to political campaigns, perceives Harris's candidacy as a normalization and visible affirmation of Indians in public service.
Why they went with Vice President Harris is because this is the most seamless transition. She was already part of the re-election campaign, right? It was the Biden-Harris 2024 campaign because she was obviously going to be President Biden's running mate again. So one thing that's working for the Democrats here is they already have the infrastructure in place to support Vice President Harris.
If Harris secures the presidency, her admiration would likely continue to strengthen US-India relations, serving as a counterbalance to China. Reports suggest Kamala Harris would focus on expanding trade and investment between the US and India. This would also encompass efforts to address issues like tariffs and trade barriers, which affected bilateral trade under the previous administration. India can also anticipate that the Harris administration would adopt a more favorable approach to immigration. Harris has advocated for legislation to increase green card allocations for countries like India and China. Although it was not enacted, the proposed legislation highlighted Harris as a pivotal advocate for immigrants seeking permanent residency in the United States of America. The American vice president has described the India-US relationship as unbreakable. In 2017, she tweeted a warm welcome to Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his visit to the United States of America. Her message, and I quote, "I welcome Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the United States and reaffirm the unbreakable bonds between our two nations." She even hosted a lunch for the Indian Premier at the State Department during his visit in June of last year.
India has inspired millions of people around the world, whether through philosophy and theology, the power of civil disobedience, or the commitment to democracy. Indeed, as I travel the world as Vice President, I have seen India's global impact firsthand. In Southeast Asia, Indian-made vaccines have saved lives and livelihoods. On the continent of Africa, India's long-standing partnerships support prosperity and security. And throughout the Indo-Pacific, India helps promote a free and open region. I also know of India's extraordinary impact with regard to innovation.
However, Harris's critical stance in Jammu and Kashmir might dissuade some voters. When India repealed some provisions of Article 370 of its constitution, granting the region semi-autonomous status, Harris remarked that the US must remind the Kashmiris that they are not alone in the world. She noted that Washington is closely monitoring the situation. Moreover, she lacks the personal rapport with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi that former President Trump enjoys. Trump referred to Prime Minister Modi as a true friend. In 2019, Trump and the Indian Prime Minister co-hosted a joint rally in Houston, Texas, attracting over 50,000 attendees. Many of them are ardent supporters of the Indian Prime Minister. At the Howdy Modi rally, Trump hailed Prime Minister Modi as one of America's greatest, most devoted, and most loyal friends.
If we were elected, India would have a true and great friend in the White House, and I can tell you, you have never had a better friend as president than President Donald Trump. That I can tell you.
Trump received a similar reception when he visited India in 2020. Just 5 months following Howdy Modi rally's success, the then President Donald Trump visited Ahmedabad in Gujarat for the Namaste Trump rally, where the former American president was welcomed grandly, with over 100,000 spectators filling a cricket stadium to see him.
From this day on, India will always hold a very special place in our hearts. The life of Prime Minister Modi underscores the limitless promise of this great nation. He started out by his father's side as a chihuahua, a tea seller. When he was a young man, he worked at a cafeteria in this city. Stand up. Everybody loves him, but I will tell you this, he's very tough.
साथियों, मुझे इस बात की खुशी है कि भारत में हो रहे इन परिवर्तनों के बीच आज अमेरिका भारत का एक भरोसेमंद पार्टनर बना है। आज जो देश भारत का लार्जेस्ट ट्रेडिंग पार्टनर है, तो वो देश है अमेरिका। आज भारत की सेनाएं जिस देश के साथ सबसे ज्यादा युद्ध अभ्यास कर रही है, तो वो देश है अमेरिका। आज जिस देश के साथ भारत की सबसे व्यापक रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट पार्टनरशिप है, तो वो देश है अमेरिका। आज चाहे डिफेंस हो, एनर्जी सेक्टर हो, हेल्थ हो, इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी हो, हर क्षेत्र में हमारी रिलेशनशिप का दायरा निरंतर बढ़ रहा है।
The burgeoning Indian-American population, especially in pivotal swing states, could significantly influence the outcome of the 2024 elections. India's keen interest in the US presidential election stems from America's critical role in global politics. With a substantial diaspora in the US, the Indian community seeks a president who will prioritize and enhance bilateral relations. Both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris offer distinct approaches that could influence India in various ways. Trump may focus on defense and economic interests, while Harris might promote stronger trade connections, support immigration reforms, and actively address climate change. The decision between Trump and Harris will depend on what India values more in its relationship with the US, whether strategic, defense, economic collaboration, or progressive and inclusive global initiatives. The 2024 elections will be crucial in determining the trajectory of these relations, shaped by the priorities and policies of the elected leaders. Thank you for watching India Today Global.